What's up, Rebels? Welcome to another Location Rebel case study. I've got that same intro every single time, but it just kind of works, so we're gonna roll with it. This one's really special for me because I'm finally getting a chance to interview Matt Koenig, who's been one of the original Location Rebel members. He has been in our community for the last couple years and has just done some awesome things, and he's fairly unique in the sense that he's been doing it all with the family. You know, he's got a day job. He's, kept that for reasons we'll get into later, but, he was doing this. It's not like he was backpacking around the world on his own. He had a family, and or he has a family, rather. And he's been doing some really cool things, and a lot of it is because of the Location Rebels community. So I'm excited to talk to you, Matt, and just kind of get your backstory and hear, what you've been up to for the last couple of years. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's been a long time coming, but I'm glad to be here and talk with you.
Totally. We were talking right before the thing. I was joking. It's like, it sounds like you're right next to an ocean because it sounds like your hard drive's spinning really fast. So for those of you wondering what's going on with the sound, I think that it's his hard drive, but you're still pretty clear, so I think it's going to be all good.
It's PC problems.
It's a PC problem. One of these days, we'll get you over to a Mac. But let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back to 4+ years ago when we first connected. Before you were even a part of Location Rebel, you found Location 180. Tell me a little bit about what your life was like then. You're in your day job. You were trying to make some changes. You had a family. What was your life back then?
Well, yeah, I wasn't. I had a day job and wasn't really enjoying it, and. I kind of got connected with Chris Gillibo, and I think that led me to you. Mm-hmm. And I just wasn't happy with my life situation. I want to make some big changes. So that's when, I got connected with you, started getting into deciding what I wanted to do with my life. Did I want to have an office job, or do I want to, try to create some business where I think kind of the ultimate dream is you're sitting on a beach with a cold drink, and you work for a couple hours a day, and the money's rolling in and life's good.
So that's the dream that everybody has, and in a lot of ways these days you're kind of living the dream, but that's not what you're doing. A couple years ago, you had a goal. You wanted to take your entire family on what you called a 1-year sabbatical. Yep. So you had this goal to build a business. Your wife is from Indonesia, is that
Indonesia?
Correct?
Yep, Indonesia.
So she still has family over there, and so part of your whole goal with building your online business was to be able to work from Indonesia and do this whole thing. So when you joined Location Rebel, what were some of the things that you initially did to start building that business that were going to give you the flexibility to work from there?
Well, I originally started out, I think, with the first track that I think most people do when they come in, which is the SEO writing.
Yeah, so basic freelance writing.
Yeah, I mean, there's the barrier to entry there is pretty low. You're writing, and but I quickly found out that I don't like writing. Yeah. I'm not good at it.
Which there's going to be a lot. There's a lot of people that come to me. They're like, hey, I want to get involved. I want to build a business. I'm not a writer. I don't like writing. And sometimes you can push past that, and sometimes you can't. So what did you end up doing?
Well, I ended up looking for other things, and I started looking at some of the other blueprints, and I got really interested with the web development blueprint.
Okay.
Because I built several sites. I built my 1-year sabbatical site. I'm a photographer, so I built my photography site. And I thought, well, if I built those, I could build for other people too. And so I started looking to that. And one of the things I really like about the blueprints in Location Rebel is that they don't give you all of the information that you're going to need to necessarily build a business, but they focus you enough so you know what skills you need to start developing on your own in order to be successful at building a business. And so I knew that I had to go in, I gotta brush up on the HTML, the CSS, I gotta start learning some JavaScript, some jQuery. And so that was what I really liked about it.
That's interesting because that's something, I try and say that my goal with all the blueprints is to get people to an intermediate level of skills with a lot of things. But obviously, web development, of all the blueprints, web development it's one of the most difficult things to learn. And as someone who's not personally a coder myself, I could only go so far with the blueprints in terms of creating something that somebody could actually apply. So I think it's interesting that you were saying you started there, you used that as motivation to kind of figure out what you didn't know. I also know that you're extremely active in the forums, in the community, and it sounds like in a lot of ways, just in talking to you, that's been one of the, the added benefits or the most beneficial things for you. Can you talk a little bit about, when you first got started, how the forums were able to hold you accountable, how you were able to meet people, and just kind of what role that played in this journey?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of questions about a lot of different things, and so going into the forum and being able to connect with people who were much more knowledgeable than I was, to be able to ask different questions about how to put my business together, or what skills am I going to need to know to do X, Y, and Z, was really, really, really useful. And as I've developed into my business, I'm kind of using the forums now to go in, and I basically like search for people who are having issues with their websites to see how I can help, because I want to kind of pay back for all the benefit that I've received.
Well, and it's so cool because some people might be thinking it's like, oh, you want to go in and figure out who's having problems so you can sell them your own services. But I think what's cool about Location Rebel and what's cool about you personally is that that's not your agenda at all. You truly want to go in and just help people that are getting started because you went through that same thing.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I think that's one of the biggest benefits of Location Rebel. That's one of the biggest benefits of the forums is just the fact that we've got people that are just getting started. So when you join, you are getting grouped with, a group of people that are in the same position as you that you can lean on for accountability, support to keep you going as you're getting started. But then we also have these veteran members like Matt who have successful businesses of their own, and they're still coming in and they're helping all the new people because they're just so committed to the forums and to the community and to the people in there. And so it's been so cool for me to see. It's like I kind of assume it's like, oh, he's got a big business now, he's going to go off and do his own thing. Yet you continue to come in and you continue to help others and also keep getting, value with your own business just through the people that you continue to meet and things like that. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think the forums are probably one of the best things about Location Rebel because the content that you're getting through there is fresh all the time. There's new problems, there's new issues, there's new questions, there's new answers. You can really grab a lot of benefit out of it.
Absolutely. So we touched on your 1-year sabbatical, and that was kind of your goal. So there's a lot of people that are like, hey, I want to build this business so I can quit my job and go travel the world, or continue traveling for people that might be just backpacking around and trying to figure out how to avoid getting a real job. You ended up taking your sabbatical, but it didn't end up necessarily exactly how you were envisioning it long term. So can you just talk real briefly about what the sabbatical ended up being and how it ended up the way that it did?
Well, it ended up being I needed a new URL. I needed a 3-month sabbatical.com instead of 1-year sabbatical. Totally. But yeah, I mean, I tried to sell it to my employer at the time as I'd like to take a year off and go on sabbatical. But company policy said you can get 3 months, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just take.
Still pretty good.
It's still pretty good.
You negotiated 3 months from your company, like that's saying something.
Well, I mean, most people are like shocked. Well, what do you mean you got 3 months off?
Totally.
How did that happen?
And so you took your entire family, your wife, your 2 kids, and you guys moved to Indonesia for 3 months.
Yep.
And how was that experience? Were you working on your new business? Were you working in your day job? Like, what was the work day to day like when you were doing that?
Well, I was actually at the time working with Tristan King on Shopify Ninjas.
Right. So for those of you who don't know, so Tristan and I, way back when, technically he was my intern, but that word doesn't describe what he did. He essentially partnered with me on Hacking the High Life. So if you're thinking about joining Location Rebel, you get access to all the Hacking the High Life material, which is essentially how I create win-win scenarios with different companies and media agencies to create cool experiences for myself while also, giving them exposure and helping them grow their business. And so Tristan was a big part of that. And also he's helped us build the commerce blueprint in Location Rebel because he now has a business called Shopify Ninjas, which is one of the biggest development businesses for people wanting to build Shopify websites. So for people that are interested in building e-commerce sites. And so Matt, you've been involved with Shopify Ninjas for a while. I'm not sure, are you still working with Tristan, or are you doing your own thing now?
I'm strictly doing my own thing now. But I worked with Tristan for 2, maybe 3 years.
So that was kind of one of like your big first forays into web development, was working on some of those sites, right?
It was, and I got a lot of great experience, learned just a ton of new skills. And I mean, we built some of the best Shopify stores, and I was involved with the first bilingual Shopify theme that we put together.
Pretty
So
cool.
yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. Pretty proud of what Shopify Ninjas has done.
So you were working with Tristan on that. So outside of your day job, you still had a remote position where it wasn't necessarily a job, but you were kind of working with Tristan on these sites, and that's what a lot of what you're doing from Indonesia, right?
Yeah, and it was great because at some point my time off from the main company I worked for ran out, so I wasn't actually having any income coming in. So being able to do work remotely helped out a lot.
Definitely. And so fast forward to now. A couple of years ago, you took your 3-month sabbatical. You're still in your day job, which is kind of by choice, but you also, in your own business, completely outside of that. You just had your first 5-figure month, which is amazing. Congratulations. Just real quick, why, when you've got your successful business, things are going well, why have you decided to continue doing that kind of, on the side or on the free time and keep the day job? Why have you decided to do that?
I think it mainly has to do with my level of comfort with risk, and I've got 2 boys and a wife to support and a mortgage, and now I got a truck payment. My thought is I have time. I have the ability to do both right now, and so I'm basically just banking all the money I have in my own business.
Yeah.
Saving up for the day when I can make the leap full time to running my own business. Because right now I basically have two sources of income coming in, and I've got medical coverage, which is important.
Absolutely. So, I mean, all of that, I think that goes to say there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I have a family, I have kids, like I have a mortgage, I can't do this lifestyle. And you're living proof that you can. And I think one of the unique things about Location Rebel and these types of businesses is that there is no cookie cutter template. We can show you the starting points and how to get started, but inevitably everyone kind of starts on a path like this and then they all kind of go their own separate ways. And I think that's important to recognize. So you've got a family, you've got your business on the side, which is doing really, really well. You've still got your day job, so you're making quite a bit of money that you're able to save, support. And it's an important thing that, different people are going to have different risk tolerances. Some people are cool. It's like, hey, I got $2,000 in the bank. Sweet. I'm going to quit. I'm going to move to Thailand and just like hustle on my thing. Other people are like, oh, I've got 50 grand in the bank and that still doesn't feel like enough. I'm going to continue on my day job. But, just kind of assessing where you're at is important. But what Location Rebel is going to help you do is it's going to help give you the tools to be able to build that side business so that you're confident that you can bring money in one way or another. When you want to quit, when you want to leave, when you want to go all in on your own thing, that's up to you. And for some people, it happens within a couple weeks, and for some people it takes years. But that's a personal thing, and that's what's so cool about this lifestyle is you get to make that choice. And so I think that your story in particular is so cool because so many people think it's like all these 21-year-olds running around with backpacks around the world and no kids and no strings, and you've proved it's like, hey, I've got a family, I've got a wife, I've got kids. We did the travel thing. We went to Indonesia for 3 months. I mean, not many people can say that. And yet you came back and were like, this is where I want to be right now. This makes me happy. We bought a house. Like, the kids go to good schools. Like, they've got their friends there. And worst case scenario, were you to ever get laid off or something to happen with your job, you still have that income. And in the meantime, you can start banking more money, which is just going to make the future that much more, comfortable or less scary, I guess.
It's a good feeling to be in this position because I'm not really worried about what happens with my job. And we've had a lot of layoffs, and I'm just not worried about it because I know I've now developed a skill set and I have a business in place where, worst case, I just do my own thing and I'm going to survive. I'm going to be fine, So that's a good feeling.
Totally. So just to wrap this up, I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I know people are watching, are busy as well. So would you say, has Location Rebel had a big impact on what you're doing now? Did it have a little impact? Did it have any impact at all? Like, what would you say to that?
I don't think I would be where I'm at in my business right now if it wasn't for Location Rebel. And I say that because there's things like the blueprints in Location Rebel that tend to focus you on the skills that you need to develop to build your business. And the forums where you're able to connect with like-minded people that can give you feedback, that can help you along the way. I mean, that's the thing that's so great about the forum. There's so many people in there just so helpful. You know, they're willing to help you, and that kind of thing is invaluable in my mind.
Awesome. Well, it's really cool to hear, and you're a shining example of that, because you still go in, you still help people, all those new guys that, regardless of whether or not they just want to get to know someone who's been around the block, whether they want to get into web development, you're really good at interacting with all of them. So I just can't thank you enough for taking the time and sharing your story, because I think it's so cool what you've done. You've basically made decisions to live the life that you want, that's going to make you happy, that's, you know, what's going to be best for your family. And it's just kind of gone against the grain of what so many people have done. And it's just a great story all the way around. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, I think everybody's path is going to be different because we all have our own unique situations. So don't let anybody, you know, kind of pigeonhole you into following a certain path. You gotta find it on your own.
Absolutely. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Matt, for taking the time to talk to us. If you do join Location Rebel during this sale or any time in the future, you can hang out with Matt in the forums. He'll give you advice on your new business, especially if you want to get into web development or if you're building a new WordPress site or whatever it is. He's an incredible resource, and I have a feeling he'd be willing to talk to you. So, Matt, thanks again. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the forums. We'll talk soon.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, thanks, Sean.
All right, take it easy.
Yeah.